Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News and welcome to the post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches as soon as they're over. Today, we are analyzing the match between Barcelona and Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League where Barcelona won 2-1 with a double by Jules Koundé. Yes, you heard that correctly. Out of all the players that we have, it was Jules Koundé who had to rescue Barcelona with his double header within 3 minutes. Yes, 2 goals within 3 minutes to give Barcelona the victory. An incredibly important victory. Very, very important victory for Barcelona because had we lost today or drew today, we would have been in deep, deep trouble as far as qualifying to the knockout stages. Now, I do have to say this was an ugly victory as the title suggests. Not happy with Barcelona's performance. But nonetheless, I am happy with the result because, again, today was a very important day to win, to get home 3 points. Now, I usually say I'm not result-oriented. That, to me, is not just about winning, but it's how you win. To me, it's very important how you win. If I didn't care about how we win, I wouldn't bother watching the matches. I would just wait for the match to be over. I would Google the result and then be like, all right, we won. Cool, good to go. I'm happy. But to me, of course, how you win is very, very important. Today, it was an ugly win. But despite that, despite me caring about how victories are obtained, I'm still happy because, again, today was an important victory given where we were on the table. Now, let's look at where we currently sitting in the Champions League table. Because before today, Barcelona were in the 18th spot with 10 points. Wait, is this updated? Sorry, with 7 points. Let me just make sure this is updated. Yes. Now, with today's victory, Barcelona has jumped up to the 14th spot, and they have 10 points. By the way, look how horrible this looks. Win, loss, draw, win, loss. This is why today's victory was incredibly important if we wanted to have a chance at qualifying to the knockout stages. Now, Barcelona are now 14th, and we are only 2 points from the top 8. Now, remember, these top 8 automatically qualify to the round of 16. Right now, it's Arsenal, Bayern, Atalanta, PSG, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Liverpool. Right? These 8 automatically qualify to the round of 16. These 8, which include Barcelona, and these 8 would have to play a playoff match, right? There will be a draw. You get a team. We're in this group right here. We would get a team from this following group. We would have to play an away match and a home match. And the winner of both matches gets to move on to the round of 16. And of course, these bottom, this is not 8. How many are these? 8, 10, 12. These bottom 12 teams get automatically eliminated. They don't get to go to Europa League. So today was a very important victory if we hoped to make it to the knockout stages. Now, as far as I understand, mathematically speaking, we are guaranteed right now a spot in the playoffs, regardless of what happens in the last 2 matches. Like, I think even if we lose the last 2 matches, I think we would still play a playoff match. So I think after today's victory, Barcelona will not be eliminated in this league phase. But of course, we can still get eliminated in the playoff matches and still not make it to the knockout stages. So today's victory was very, very important. I'm glad we took home the 3 points. Very happy about today's victory because of that. But as far as Barcelona's play, not happy whatsoever, especially because after the defeat at the hands of Chelsea in the Champions League, I expected Barcelona to have a better reaction. I expected the team today to come out ready to kill, ready to win, hungry for that win. But instead, I did not see that during the first half. I saw some of it in the second half, not during the first half. And that, to me, was disappointing because I really thought these players were going to come out with that desire to turn things around and to prove that they deserve to be in the Champions League and to get that victory, especially against an opponent like Eintracht Frankfurt. Because on one hand, we are owed a revenge against Eintracht Frankfurt after what happened in the last time we met in the Europa League, where they eliminated us and where they invaded our stadium and they trashed it and they They did it today, by the way. We'll talk about it in a little bit. So I thought on one hand, we would be motivated to come out ready to win because of what happened against Chelsea. On the other hand, I thought we would come out ready to win because Eintracht Frankfurt and what they did last time we met them. And finally, I expected this team to win with ease because, again, it is Eintracht Frankfurt. And yes, they are a Champions League team. Sure. But they are currently sitting 7th in the Bundesliga. They have the worst defensive record in the Bundesliga. They have conceded 21 goals in the last 10 matches. You heard that right. 21 goals in the last 10 matches, including their last match where they lost 0-6 against Leipzig. And they also lost, there was a 5-1 a few weeks ago, or 1-5 against Liverpool in the Champions League. So they have the worst defensive record in the Bundesliga. They're sitting 7th in the Bundesliga. I think they have the 3rd worst defensive record in the Champions League. So I thought that we would have today at least somewhat of an easy win. But instead, it was not. Instead, it was an ugly win. Again, happy about the win, happy about the 3 points, but not happy about how we got the win because this could have easily ended in a draw or even a loss. Now, as always, I do like to go over the lineup. Then we'll talk about the general sensations of the team and why I think that today's win was an ugly one. And finally, we'll talk about the individual players. Now, let's start with the lineup because this is the lineup that Hansi Flick chose today to start the match. Of course, Joan Garcia in goal. Alejandro Balde and Koundé are 2 fullbacks. And then Cubarsí and Gerard Martin as our 2 center-backs. It looks like this has become the favorite pairing for Flick. It used to be Cubarsí Eric. Now it's Cubarsí Gerard Martin. By the way, for people who say, no, Flick is stubborn and he doesn't change anything, let's not forget, he tried out Cubarsí with Araujo, Cubarsí with Eric, Cubarsí with Christensen, settled on Cubarsí and Christensen, and Eric, then tried out Eric, Pau and Gerard Martin. Now he settled on Pau and Gerard Martin. In the midfield, double pivot as Pedri and Eric Garcia. It looks like that has also become his more a favorite pairing. Same thing. He tried out Pedri and Frankie, Pedri and Eric, Frankie and Casado, Pedri and Casado, settled on Pedri and Frankie, and now he has settled on Pedri and Eric. And then in attacking midfield, Fermín López, used to be Dani Olmo. On the right, we have Coutinho. On the left, Lamine Yamal. And of course, as our center forward, Robert Lewandowski. Now, these were the starting 11. Now, let's talk about the general sensations about the team and why I think today's victory was an ugly one. Now, the first half was an incredibly sloppy half for Barcelona. Barcelona, I thought, again, they would come out with full intensity, ready to get that victory after what happened against Chelsea. But instead, I saw a team that was, I don't want to say that were complacent or that they weren't trying. They were trying, but not with the intensity that I thought they would come out. Now, Barcelona from the get-go immediately faced off a low block with Frankfurt, which sometimes they would even have a line of 5 or sometimes even a line of 6 where you have your line of 4. The wingers would drop, and then you had these two, their double pivot also helping, and they kind of like, they had a low block, a square that pretty much was sitting pretty low on the field. And we know that Barcelona have struggled against low blocks before, and today was no different due to 2 reasons. The number one reason was the passing during the first half, because the passing was absolutely awful. You know, one thing that characterizes Barcelona is, of course, their quick, sharp, accurate passing. That's what has always characterized Barcelona. That's what characterized the tiki-taka, right? And if you want to be a Barcelona player, if you want to wear those colors, you better know how to pass quickly, accurately, and intelligently. But today, it looks like none of those players remembered how to pass because the passing was absolutely sloppy during the first half. Nobody, and that goes for everybody, by the way, I'm not singling anyone out, nobody could complete a single pass. And as a result, Barcelona were not able to find the space against Eintracht Frankfurt's low block, and Eintracht Frankfurt were able to defend with ease. The second reason why I think Barcelona really struggled during the first half was the lack of mobility up front. And I think here is where we have to a little bit call out Fermín López, because today's Fermín López's match was not the best one. He's had really good matches recently, but today he was a little bit off. And I think it had to do with how Fermin Lopez is used to play. Now, as opposed to Lamine Yamal or maybe Rafinha, who have more freedom to move about the field. Maybe sometimes they're on the wing, then they drop to the middle. Sometimes they switch where Rafinha's in the middle and Lamine is almost on the left. Fermin is more of a player that's more stationary. And I don't mean stationary that he stays in his place, but that he stays within the confines of his position. And that, of course, makes it difficult to receive the ball or to create space when you're playing against low block, right? Against a low block, you have to be a lot more mobile and create more space with your movement. And that's not something Fermin Lopez is used to doing as opposed to Dani Olmo. So I think today Fermin Lopez did not have the best of matches because of that. And that kind of affected the attack because we didn't really have that many options coming through the middle. Now, we also had problems with Lamine Yamal where he, during the first half, felt very disconnected, very disjointed from the rest of the team. It looked like he was fighting his own battle on the right wing. By the way, a battle that was not going well for him. I think he consistently lost balls. He consistently over-dribbled. He consistently hogged the ball. And that was a problem because, again, we weren't able to create space from that because of that. In fact, the first goal from Eintracht Frankfurt was Lamine Yamal's fault. He loses the ball because he hogs the ball and doesn't let it go and ends up in a goal. On the left, Coutinho, today's match was a little bit off too. Now, not in all regards, but offensively speaking. Defensively, Coutinho's Coutinho. That guy is going to give you 1,000,000%. Not even 100%, 1,000,000%. He was helping with the press. He was helping with the defending. He was all over the field. But attacking-wise, his passes were also constantly inaccurate, very soft, too short, or too long. So between Rafinha's passing being off, between Lamine Yamal hogging the ball, and between Fermin Lopez not being comfortable in his position, our attack was pretty much very stale. We barely created any chances. We weren't creating space. We weren't creating danger. And as a result, Eintracht Frankfurt were defending with lots of ease. And of course, came the counterattack from that ball loss from Lamine Yamal, which ended up in Eintracht Frankfurt's goal. By the way, what a goal by their, what's his name? Their number 7. I forgot his name. Oh, wait, I have the lineup right here. I could just look it up right here. Knuff or Nuff, if the K is silent. I don't fucking know. Never heard of this guy. I don't know much about Eintracht Frankfurt. All I know is Nathaniel Brown because Barcelona are, of course, tracking him. Second half, I think Hansi Flick laid into these players because when the first half ended, he went into the locker room looking like he wanted to kill someone, and I'm sure he probably gave him a good tongue lashing. He made some adjustments, moved Coutinho into the attacking midfield, taking out Fermin Lopez, who, again, was not having the best of matches, put in Marcus Rashford on the left wing, and then that's when we saw Barcelona started moving the ball much, much better. I think that's when we saw Lamine Yamal join the team instead of playing on his own on the right. We saw Rashford start, we know what Rashford can give us on the attack. He started doing that, so that also opened up space on the left. And then, of course, with Coutinho going through the middle, that also opened up a little bit more space, not too much, because, again, Coutinho's passing, unfortunately, today was a little bit off, which, of course, it happens. You cannot expect every match from Coutinho to be perfect. That's impossible. Not even Messi, the greatest footballer ever, had good matches every single time. So much better second half with Barcelona moving the ball much better, creating space much better. And, of course, came the beautiful cross from Rashford to Koundé, who scores the first goal. And within 2 minutes, Lamine Yamal with another cross. And then Jules Koundé puts in the second one, 2-1. And Barcelona take home 3 very, very important points, where now we still have a shot at finishing top 8. It's going to be difficult, but we still have a shot at finishing top 8 and qualifying directly to the round of 16. And if we can't, at least we have the playoff matches where we could still make it to the round of 16. Now, let's talk about the individual players. As always, I do like to discuss the players themselves because today, Balde did not have a good match either. He was constantly caught out of position. A lot of times not doing a good job tracking back. And I don't know what's going on with Balde this season, but he's been having a lot of matches that are not that great. Jules Koundé, same thing, believe it or not. He scored 2 goals, and for that, I'm happy, and I'm not going to give him any crap. But today, Koundé, any attack was really affected Barcelona's build-up, not helping with the build-up. In fact, sometimes he was getting in the way of the buildup with some sloppy passing. As far as tracking back, sometimes he was also too late in his reaction. So overall, Kunde's match was not the greatest. But again, he scored the 2 goals. So who am I to say anything bad about him today? I'm just going to shut up and thank him for the double. Eric Garcia. I think we have our pairing here. I think we have the Pedri Eric Garcia pairing to me because once again, the Pedri Eric Garcia pairing worked really, really well. Eric Garcia really good with the press, really good with his movement without the ball, very good with the defending and covering areas. The only thing is he didn't really have much buildup. He didn't have that forward passes. Most of his passes were horizontal, but defensively speaking, Eric Garcia was superb, which of course gave Pedri more freedom to make forward runs, to participate in the attack. And it was honestly Pedri that was organizing the whole attack, as he always does. And once again, Pedri was key in the midfield, but I think part of it had also to do with Eric staying back, helping with the defensive duties, which gave Pedri more freedom. By the way, the substitution of Pedri coming off and Frankie coming in, I like that better than when it's Pedri, Frankie. If we're going to take out someone from the midfielder, I think I like taking off Pedri so he can rest and bringing in Frankie, because we saw the same thing with when Frankie came on, right? The fact that Eric could stay back and help with the defense, that also allowed Frankie to make those forward runs when Frankie did come on to the field. So really good match by Eric. And I'm starting to like the Pedri-Eric Garcia pairing in that double pivot. Fermin Lopez, we talked about him. Same with Rafinha. Lamine Yamal, not a good match by him. Constantly attempting to dribble, constantly failing at it, constantly hogging the ball, constantly over keep the ball. Now, don't get me wrong. I've always said, because people used to ask me, hey, Mo, do you think Lamine Yamal is abusing the ball too much? I just say, you know what? What makes these players like Messi great is that they are selfish sometimes because, they can grab the ball, dribble past several players, and generate beautiful goals or assists. And the only way they can do that is by being selfish. So I'm okay with Lamine Yamal being selfish. But you also have to know when to let go of the ball. And today, Lamine Yamal did not seem to know when. He was constantly hogging the ball. And again, Eintracht Frankfurt's goal came straight from Lamine Yamal losing the ball because he kept it too long. He hogged it. Also, getting subbed out. We saw him getting mad, saying things under his breath. He didn't want to say hi to the coaches. Not okay. I think, I'll say this, not okay, but I'll cut him some slack because he is an 18-year-old kid. He's still learning. He still has a lot of maturing, a lot of growing up to do. I would be a lot more mad if someone like, I don't know, maybe Lewandowski or Rafinha or Frankie did it, right? Who are more veteran, older, more experienced, more mature. I would be a lot more mad if one of those players did it. I'm still upset. I still didn't like that attitude, but I would cut him some slack just because he's young. Now, Hansi Flick is going to have to nip that in the bud right away. Have a talk with him and be like, look, maybe explain it to him. Look, I'm just trying to protect you. I mean, he came off in the 85th minute, for God's sake. What is he mad about? But Flick needs to have a serious talk with him and be like, look, we did it to protect you, but either way, I'm the coach here. My decisions have to be respected. None of that bullshit attitude, especially since now I'm pretty sure that's going to be the headline all day tomorrow. More so if Real Madrid lose against Man City, you bet your ass that's going to be the headlines. Lamine Yamal, look at his attitude, blah, 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 blah. So, A, he needs to respect his coach. B, if he's upset with a coach decision, he needs to bottle it up and talk to Flick after the match in his office, in the locker room. You don't do that in public. And Flick is going to have to nip that in the bud. Again, not happy about it, but I cut him some slack. He's still pretty young. He's still learning. Again, I would be a lot more pissed if I saw that from someone like Lewy or Frankie or Rafinha because they're much older veterans. In fact, I used to criticize Rafinha when he used to do that under Xabi. Remember when he kicked the cooler and I was like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? So, anyways. Lewy, not a lot of participation on the ball with Lewy, but I think a lot of it had to do with how the players around him were interpreted. As we know, Lewy's a classic 9. He's someone who is more stationary in the box, and based on that, by being stationary, usually number 9s are more stationary. Excuse me, my throat is really dry. Can create a lot more freedom for the players around them. And today, I don't think the players around them knew how to interpret his positioning. And as a result, Lewy didn't really touch the ball much. He had that one goal that was ruled offside because Rafinha was offside, I think, by a shoulder, by a leg. But that's about it. I think that's all I wanted to touch as far as players. Of course, we did have some substitutions. We saw Ferran coming in. He was a lot more mobile. He also created some space with his coming in and out of the box. We saw Rooney Bardghji come in, but of course, he only played a few minutes. I think if Lamine Yamal is going to be having this attitude, might as well start subbing him out at 60th minute because I think Rooney Bardghji deserves more time. I mean, he did score a goal and provide an assist in his last match. Who else came in? Andreas Christensen came in kind of towards the end just to give the team more defensive prowess for people who say, oh, Flick doesn't, he wants to stick to his whole thing. He's rigid, blah, blah, blah. And what other substitutions came on? I can't remember what other substitutions came on. But anyways, that's all I have to say about the match. Very, very important win. Very, very important 3 points. Again, not happy with how the team played, but I am happy with the result. And let's hope this is the turning point, right? We saw that in La Liga where Barcelona were doing really bad. And then after that, we saw them turn a page. They slowly started getting better and started getting more and more victories. Now we're sitting at the top of the league table. Hopefully today was a turning point where maybe it was not a great victory as in, or a pretty victory, I should say. But maybe next match will be better and better and better. And we can build on that because we need to definitely improve our performance in the Champions League. Anyways, let's do a few more comments and then we'll end this live stream. And after that, of course, I will be posting a news video because there is news. There's always news. It's FC Barcelona. And that's why it's called, Barca News. I feel like I didn't know it. I feel like if I had created a football channel instead of a Barca channel, I probably wouldn't get to talk about anything else but Barca anyway because there's always so much news. But we do have donation from Thank you so much, my friend, for your donation. But says, let's just hope and pray that Koundé's brace is the beginning of him waking his ass up to play his full potential. Koundé has full potential as a top 5. Dare I say top 3 defender in the world. 100% agree with you, my friend. I think last season Koundé was one of the best right backs in all of Europe, undoubtedly. This season, I don't know what happened to him. Again, I don't know if it's overconfidence because last season Barcelona were unstoppable. I don't know if he just felt like winning 3 trophies was enough and he was no longer hungry. I don't know what it is, but yes, I hope and wish and pray that you are right, that today Jules Koundé can turn a page because we need him, right? We don't have any other right backs. Or at least we don't, Eddie Garcia could play there, but we're seeing Eddie Garcia is actually doing much better in the midfield, so I'd rather keep him in the midfield. So, Koundé, please, bro, we need you. So please, please, please return to your form from last season. But thank you, Shane, for your donation. And let's see. David says, that's the difference between Barca and Madrid. Heart. I don't know if the team showed any heart during the first half, honestly. Second half, sure. First half, not so much. Barca Mama says, ugly, but I'll take it. Yeah, I feel like that too. Ugly, but I'll take it. Khalil says, what was Frankfurt a shitty team? We must kill the game earlier, but we didn't have the intensity. And also, we were bad in defense. Flick must fix the both issues. Otherwise, it will cost us. I don't think it was necessarily a problem in the defense. I think it's just the whole team weren't really doing much as far as moving the ball because the passing was so inaccurate. Our front was so immobile. I don't know if I chucked this off to the defense. So I don't think that was a defensive problem today. The price is never right. Says we caught life. Was tough match. Koundé to the rescue. Koundé to the rescue indeed, my friend. Let's see. Triple X says good to see you, Mo. Have you noticed how the insecure fans will always slam Yamal, never criticize Rafinha when he always drops his usual stinker? The hatred agenda against Yamal is pathetic. I wouldn't say the hatred against Yamal comes from our fan base. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who do, but I think that most of the hate that comes towards Lamine is, from Real Madrid or from other clubs because they know. It's like when Messi left to PSG, they were like, whew, finally, the guy who causes a lot of problems for 50 years is gone. And the next thing you know, Lamine's like, hold on a minute. I'm here. There we go. That's going to help. I had a lot of allergies today, so my throat was dry. Anyways. Barca Mama said it seemed there were a lot of Frankfurt fans there, lots of white all over the stadium. So, I wasn't paying attention to that, but I did start seeing a lot of videos and images coming out after the match. The Frankfurt fan was pissed. So they started throwing trash bottles, even though there was like the clear barrier that separated the Frankfurt fans from the rest. But they were throwing bottles over it. They were throwing trash. They started lighting up those flares and throwing them over the barrier onto the Barca fans. I hope UEFA does something about this because this is the second time. And I don't know what's wrong with them. I mean, they're fucking animals. Who behaves like that? At the end of the day, it's a football match. You're mad that your team lost? Okay, fine. We all of us go through that too. All of our teams lose. Doesn't matter which team do you support. That does not give you an excuse to behave like a fucking animal. Like you're in a civilized society. Act like it. You can't act civilized, don't leave your house. Better yet, go live in the jungle or somewhere away from civilization because that's not how you behave. Let's see. Costa says, Jules Diddy Kunde. Yeah, why you gotta do Kunde like that? Jules Diddy Kunde slept the whole season just to oil up Frankfurt for 3 minutes. You're terrible, man. You're terrible. But that was hilarious. That was hilarious. Sanjog says, have you noticed Kouarsi has been making a lot of mistakes? How he's just 18, but I expect him to get better in his 3rd season. Also, Atalanta beat Chelsea 2-1. Shows how bad we were. Well, first of all, thank you, my friend, for the donation. Yes, I have been noticing Kouarsi making mistakes. I think today he made like a gruesome mistake where he tried to clear the ball and he passed it to an Eintracht Frankfurt attacker who puts in a cross, and then Joan Garcia is a freaking Spider-Man. Just, I don't know how the hell he got to that cross before anyone else. So yes, I have seen him. But I chucked that to inexperience, and here's why. Not just because he's 18. I'm not just going to use his age as an excuse and that's it. But despite him making mistakes, he still has overall good performances. Like today, I thought he had a good match. He did have 2 or 3 bad mistakes, but the rest was good, which tells me that those mistakes are as a result of inexperience. If he's constantly making mistakes all match and his matches are bad, then I'm like, okay, yeah, this is obviously a problem with his performance. Maybe it's his confidence. Maybe he just dropped his level because, I don't know, he's too overconfident or not confident enough or something. But that's not the case. He still gives you good performances, but with mistakes, which tells me that's obviously and clearly as a result of inexperience, and it's not, and not because, he's not pulling a Kunde, right? But anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. By the way, don't forget, hold on. We have a Shin who has gifted 1 Barca News membership. Thank you so much, my friend, for gifting the membership. And Kunal Terminator is the lucky winner of that membership. So thank you, Shin, for your generosity. And Kunal, well, thank Flick, Shin, for his generosity as well. Saturday, I will be holding the MoCast, which is a podcast exclusive for members. I didn't do it this past Saturday because I was out all day. As you know, I was on a trip. So when I came back, wow, I had a lot to do. But this Saturday, it's back to the MoCast, which is your exclusive podcast for channel members. And of course, you could join the Discord server. The link is in the community tab, only visible to channel members. Just make sure you're logged into Discord with the same credentials that you log into your YouTube account, so Discord can recognize that you're a YouTube member. But thank you, Shin, for your generosity. And now we will end this live. If you're watching this when it ends, or after it's ended, I should say, drop a comment down below letting me know what you thought about Barcelona's performance. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Oh, I remember now what I was saying before I read that. The raffle, giveaway. Giveaway, cat. But why did I forget the cat's name? I'm like, what's the cat's name? Oh, yeah, cat. Duh. Cat plushie giveaway. If you want to participate, head to the Instagram page, the channel's Instagram page. The instructions are there. If you don't know where to find them, the post is a big cat picture. Not a cat like meow, but a cat, the plushie cat or the mascot cat. So don't forget, giveaway. Head to the page's Instagram page. Go to the post that has the cat on it. and you have the instructions on how to participate in the giveaway. And last thing is Barca Mama asking, can't wait for the Mocas. What time this week? When does Barca play? Is it Saturday or Sunday? Hold on, let me check. Barca plays on Saturday at 12:30. Mamma mia. That's around the time that we do the Mocast. So I'm going to do this. I am going to do the Mocast on Sunday, but I know you go to church, Barca Mama. I'll make a post. I'll make a post with a survey to see when people want me to do the Mocast this weekend, because Saturday at 12:30 we play against Osasuna. So, of course, I'm going to do the watch along, and then afterwards I'm going to do the post-match live analysis. So we either do the Mocast early before the Osasuna match, or we could do it after the Osasuna match / the match analysis, or we could do it on Sunday. I'll post a poll, and you guys can vote on it, because the Osasuna match is around the same time. Anyways, okay. That is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I will see you guys in the news video. As always, now and forever. Peace, Barca.